My talk today is about the relationship between two major sites in the area of Carnac in Brittany. The first one is called Le Vieux Moulin, which means the old windmill. There is no windmill there now, it's disappeared, but it can be seen in old photos. But the megaliths are there, and they've been there now for about 6,000 or 7,000 years. One of them has fallen over. A part of the stone seems to have broken off and slipped down, and the whole thing was unbalanced, and so the stone fell over. The part that has fallen to the ground actually has an engraving on it, an engraving of a square, and beside the square there is a crescent moon, a horizontal crescent moon. And I'll be coming back to this subject in a later talk, because the horizontal crescent moon is a very important thing. But today that's not my subject. The Vieux Moulin here has 3 stones in an alignment. There are more stones further down the hill, but the site down the hill has been restored. It was restored at the end of the 19th century by Felix Gaillard, and it's not quite certain if the stones were put in their exact correct positions. But the stones on the hilltop at the Vieux Moulin are in their initial position, so that's a very important point to make. They're very big stones, and they're on a hilltop with a visibility over quite some distance. And from this point, it's possible to see across the landscape to the hill of the Tumulus Saint-Michel. Now, the Tumulus Saint-Michel is one of the oldest monuments, perhaps the oldest monument in the area. It's dated to about 5,000 BC. It's an incredible monument, 125 meters long and 62.5 meters wide. And it's 67,000 tons of stone have been added onto this hilltop to make a mound, which used to rise probably about 15 meters above the hilltop. On the top of this tumulus now is a chapel. The present-day chapel has been there since about 1925, but there was one there before that. And people have been coming up to this hilltop for many centuries. They had their oxen and their cattle blessed on the hilltop. They used to bring their horses and the oxen up to the hilltop. But that's a different story. So the Tumulus Saint-Michel has a central chamber, but a lot of it has not yet been excavated. And so there are still probably things to be discovered underneath this tumulus. Now, what we're going to look at today is the relationship between the Vieux Moulin alignments and the Tumulus Saint-Michel. So as I said, there is clear visibility between the two. Now, if we draw a line from the central stone of the Vieux Moulin alignments, and we draw this line across the countryside to the central line in the Tumulus Saint-Michel, on the top of the Tumulus Saint-Michel, we find we can get an angle of 121.72 degrees from north and a distance of 4,063 meters. Now, first of all, the angle here, this angle, 121.72 degrees, is 90 degrees plus 31.72 degrees. And that angle is the angle of the diagonal of what's called a golden rectangle. A golden rectangle is a rectangle with a ratio of 1 on the shorter side to 1.618, the golden ratio, the golden number, or the divine proportion, on the longer side. And if we draw the diagonal, then we get the angle of 31.72 degrees. So that's an interesting fact, and I've already shown the existence of this geometry in the Carnac alignments. At the Lemenic alignments, it's quite clear, the Lemenic East alignment's quite clear that this golden ratio geometry was used. So that's an important point. But let's look at the distance, and this is the point of this short talk today, is the distance between the two can be seen to be 4,063 meters. Now, if we want to find out the unit involved here, we can use the Pythagorean theorem. So the hypotenuse will be 1 squared plus 1.618 squared. So that's 1 plus 2.618, because the golden ratio has this incredible property of being the square of 1.618 is 2.618. So 1 plus 2.618 equals 3.618. And this gives us a length for the hypotenuse of the square root of 3.618, which is 1.9021. So if we take the distance of 4,063 meters and we divide by 1.9021, which is the square root of 3.618, we obtain the value of 2,136 meters. So that is the length, the unit length, the one side, the side of the one, the north-south axis here, between the Vieux Moulin and the Tumulus Saint-Michel. We have 2,136 meters on the north-south axis. And what's incredible about that measurement is that if we divide it by 24, we obtain 89. So the measurement is 89 times 24. Now, 89 is one of the numbers in the Fibonacci series. This is a series where each number is added to the previous number, and when the number is divided by the preceding number, we get very close to the golden ratio. So if we start with 0 and 1, 0, 1, 0 plus 1, 1, and that gives us 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, 144, 233, etc. And so 89 is one of the numbers in this series, which means that if we have 89 times 24 on the north-south axis here, then we have 144 times 24 on the east-west axis. Now that's very important. 144 is 12 times 12, and 24 is 2 times 12, so we have 12 cubed times 2, which gives us 3,456 meters on the east-west side. And what we discover then is that between these two monuments has been traced an incredible golden rectangle placed on the cardinal directions with meters, length in meters, corresponding to the Fibonacci series, the ratio of 89 by 144 times 24 in meters. That was the subject for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.